Welcome to the Fountas and Pinnell Assessment Reading Record app. With this app and an iPad stylus, you can purchase and code reading records for the Benchmark Assessment Systems and Sistema de Evaluación de la Lectura. You can also analyze and score the reading records and the comprehension conversations as you assess students to determine their instructional and independent reading levels. While you can use the app without subscribing to the online data management system, we recommend that you subscribe to it and send your assessment data there from the app by syncing wirelessly. The data on the ODMS does not disappear after a year as it does on the app, and the ODMS allows for various levels of reporting for teachers and school and district administrators. If you choose to subscribe, you should do this before using the app so that you can log into the app using your ODMS ID and password. You can use the app without being an ODMS subscriber. Simply enter the app by swiping under the login area. For this tutorial, we'll enter with an ODMS login. The first screen you'll encounter is the student profile screen. Before you can use the app, you need to get the reading records for the Fountas and Pinnell assessment systems you use. Tapping on the shopping cart icon takes you to the place where you can purchase the reading records or the Universal Running Record module that allows you to take a running record on any book. Simply flip through the choices, and when the module you wish to purchase is showing, tap on the Buy button. If you are switching to a new iPad and have already purchased the reading records, tap on Restore. Now you can begin to assess readers. On the student profile screen, tap on the class and then on the student's name. Then tap on Add Assessment and on Start. On the new conference screen, select the text category. If you are assessing a reader on a Benchmark or Sistema book, select BAS-SEL. If you are assessing a reader on another book, select Other Text. Then select the level and Fiction or Nonfiction. If you are choosing a BAS-SEL text and there is more than one text available for you at that level, you can swipe across the book cover that has appeared to get to the other book covers. Once the book you wish to use has its cover showing and its title appearing in the title field, you can tap on Start New Conference to continue to the introduction screen. You read the title and the introduction to the child, then tap on Next. Here you see the text of the book. Page numbers are on the left. If you wish to record the reader, tap on Record, then tap on Start to start the recorder and the timer. Ask the reader to begin reading. To code a reading behavior, you use a combination of writing in the text box and then tapping on a word in the text and swiping or gesturing in a direction that matches the one you want, as indicated in the gestural menu in the upper left of the screen. A little practice will help you quickly get the feel for how long you need to hold the stylus on a word to select it before gesturing. It is selected once it has a blue highlight. As you see, you can move your stylus in a circle and pop-up text will indicate what region you are in, as will a dot on the gestural menu. When you are in the correct region, lift your stylus and the behavior will be recorded. You will quickly get used to swiping in any required direction. The behaviors on the gestural menu are Insert, for when a reader inserts a word or words between words in the text, Substitution, for substitutions of incorrect words for words in the text, Process, for when a reader processes a word by sounding it out, Omit, for omitted words, SC, for self-corrections, and T, for when you tell a reader what a word is. Under the text box are 3 buttons for indicating repetitions and for making notes. The Clear button clears the text box of what you've written. Let's try coding each of the behaviors. First, insertions. To code insertions, you write the inserted word into the text box, then tap on the word before the insertion occurred and swipe up. This places the inserted word after the word you tapped on. If a child inserts another word in the same place, perform the same functions. Each inserted word counts as one error. For substitutions, write the substituted word or words into the text box, then tap on the typed word and swipe up and to the right towards sub. This places what you have written above the word and turns the word red. Each word in the text that has a word or words substituted for it counts as one error. Now processing. Write into the text box the processing that the reader did, then tap on the typed word and gesture to the right. The typed word turns orange and the written text appears above the word. This does not count as an error. You use the process to code any behaviors that do not add up to an error. So if a student appeals for a word and you say to the child, "You try it," and the child then reads the word correctly, you would write these behaviors in the box and gesture toward process. No error is added to the count. Omissions are coded by tapping on a word and gesturing downward. The word turns red and a line appears over it. Each omitted word counts as one error. When a child corrects her errors, add an SC in the text box before gesturing to the left. This will place what you have written above the word as well as turning the word green. If you tell a child the word because the child is not attempting the word at all and is stuck, then select the word and gesture up and to the left towards T. This places a T next to the word, turns the word red, and adds an error to the error count. If you want to indicate a told while also indicating other behaviors, then write the other behaviors in the box before tapping and swiping towards T. Repetitions are marked using one of two behavior buttons. If a reader repeats one word, you select the word and then tap on R one word. This places a pink line over the word. If a child repeats the word again, you simply tap on R one word again if the word is still selected, or select the word again and tap on R one word. This adds the number 2 to the end of the repetition line. You can continue to add numbers in the same way. To indicate the repetition of more than one word, tap on the first or last word in the repeated phrase, then tap on R words. Then tap on the word at the other end of the repeated phrase and tap on R words again. If the phrase is repeated more than once, repeat the process. To indicate when behaviors have happened during a repetition of a phrase, use the text box to write the behavior and then draw an arrow down next to it. If you are adding to previous behaviors, tap on the typed word first to bring up the previous handwritten text and simply add to it. For omitted words, if a reader does something else on a repetition, you would write the omit line first into the text box and then write the subsequent behavior before swiping according to the final behavior. This way you see what the behaviors were and also retain the one error in the error count. You can embed a note in the text at any point by tapping on a word, writing in the text box, and tapping on Notes. These notes will be viewable on the PDF of the reading record. Undo in the upper left corner of the coding screen undoes each noted behavior starting with the most recent. In the upper right corner of the coding screen, a hard button will flash when the child has reached the number of errors that constitute a hard book, without taking into account the comprehension score. So for levels A through K, the hard button will flash when the child has an accuracy rate of below 90%, and for levels L through Z, the button will flash when the child has a rate below 95%. When the hard button flashes, you can choose whether to end the assessment and count the reading as a hard reading, or to go on and finish the assessment. If you choose to end it, you simply tap on the hard button, and then you are taken to the assessment report. Tap on End on the left toolbar to end an assessment. Then tap on Score to move to the Scoring and Analysis section. Here you will score fluency. There's a key on the right side of the page to help you determine a score. You may also type notes on the student's fluency here, then tap on Next. The comprehension conversation screens now appear, with prompts followed by key understandings that the prompts may elicit. Tap on the checkmark button next to the key understandings that were fully voiced and use the comment feature to note any additional understandings or partial understandings that the student demonstrated. Give the student a score. Again, use the key to help you determine what score to give. On the final comprehension conversation screen, an extra point is available for you to award a student who's come up with one or more unique and valuable understandings of the text. There is a prompt listed on the Writing About Reading screen that you may read to your students if you would like additional evidence of their understandings. You can tap on the Save Close button at this point and come back to finish scoring and analyzing this reading at a later time. In this next section of the app, you will analyze errors and self-corrections. You can also play the audio of an error by clicking on the play button on the left of the screen and moving the indicator to find the applicable place in the text. For the analyses, one by one, you select each red error, except omissions and insertions which are not analyzed, and select each green self-correction, and you analyze why the child behaved as they did. Was it based on meaning, M, language structure, S, or visual features, V? To analyze an error, select the word in the text by tapping on it to highlight it. A box appearing in the lower left part of the screen will give you the ability to turn the error off, not counting it as an error, and also the ability to analyze the error by tapping into the MSV boxes and then tapping on Save. If a child substituted more than one word for any given word in the text, you will analyze each additional word and then tap on Save again. To delete any analysis, simply swipe over it from right to left and tap on Delete. Do the self-corrections in the same way. First, analyze the error that occurred before the self-correction, and then analyze the self-correction. For all self-corrections, the error default is off. The Code Analyze button on the upper right corner of the screen moves you between a screen where you can code additional behaviors that you perhaps heard while playing the recording, and the screen where you can analyze them. If you would like to remove a behavior that is marked for any word, simply select the word and tap on Remove in the upper right corner. This removes all behavioral indications for that word. When you tap on the Next button, you go to the Writing About Reading scoring page. This screen has the Writing About Reading prompt on it and the scoring options of NA, 0, 1, 2, 3, and also a key. Choose NA if you did not ask the child to complete the Writing About Reading assignment. The Next button takes you to the summary statement for this assessment. This screen allows you to write a summary statement about this reading. Tap into the text box to bring up the keyboard to type your statement, then tap on Next to go to the assessment report. This screen shows all of the data about the reading that has just been coded, scored, and analyzed. A graph shows the number of errors and self-corrections split up by those analyzed to be M, S, or V. 3 summary statements will also appear that are based on the reading assessment data and that will help you to move towards next steps for instruction for this student. You can tap on the View PDF button to open a PDF of the reading record in your native PDF viewer. From here, you can choose to print it by tapping on the symbol in the upper right corner, or to open it in another app that will allow you to email it to yourself, depending on the apps that you have installed on your iPad. Then you can return to the app by tapping in the upper part of the screen and tapping on the Done button that appears. This PDF will also move over to the ODMS when you sync. You can tap on Mail PDF to email the recording form to yourself. The Done button in the lower right corner of the assessment report finishes the assessment and takes you back to the student profile screen. The app will sync to the online data management system after you have finished each assessment, and it will indicate the synced assessments with a green check mark. Any unsynced assessments will have a red X next to them. If you are not accessing a wireless network, you can sync the assessment later by tapping on the Sync icon and selecting Sync Assessments up to ODMS. In this same drop-down menu, you can select Sync Students Down to iPad to bring any new classes or students over from the ODMS. All assessments that are unable to be sent to the ODMS for any reason can be viewed by tapping on View All Unsynchronized Assessments. This brings up a screen that shows the data for the unsynchronized assessments in case you need to manually enter the data into the ODMS. Here you can also access the PDF of the reading record. The particular sync problem for each assessment can be viewed by tapping on the exclamation point in the last column. If the sync issue cannot be resolved and you manually enter the data into the ODMS, you can change your sync status for an assessment to a yellow check mark by tapping on the X in the second to last column and then answering yes. You can also delete the assessment if you wish by tapping into the trash can column. Tapping on the wrench symbol will allow you to turn off and on the indicators that confirm your swiping direction during coding. To assess another reading by this student during the same assessment conference, tap on Resume. Don't tap on Add Assessment unless you're starting another benchmark session at another point in the year. All unfinished assessments are selectable at the bottom of the conference screen. If there are several, simply swipe the book cover that is showing to see the other choices. To end a benchmark assessment conference, tap on the End button. The Assessment Summary Report will show you all of the data for the readings in this assessment. Here also are the PDF recording forms of the individual readings. And this assessment summary can also be accessed as a PDF. Now let's do an assessment on a non-benchmark or Sistema book. On the conference screen, select Other Text, the level, and the type, and then type in the book title. To conduct this type of assessment, you will ideally have 2 copies of the text, one for the student and one for you. Use your copy to follow along as the student reads and to set up the reading record so that there are the same number of words on each line and the same number of lines on each page of your record as there are in the book. The coding screen begins with one line, L1, that shows X's and check marks. Tap on Start to begin the timer. As the student reads line 1, you either tap on a check mark for a correctly read word or tap and swipe on an X for a word with a behavior associated with it or for an inserted word. Use the text box and gestures just as you did with benchmark text coding. Just be sure you are selecting the X before swiping. When tapping on the check marks, the best place to tap is right in the middle of the V section of the check mark symbol. Once you have accounted for all of the words in line 1 of your text, add another line by tapping on the L1 or any line number, L2, L3, etc. Another line will appear beneath it. Continue to mark the words and behaviors for the new lines on the page. To start a new page, tap on Next Page. You can change any page numbers by tapping in the page text box in the lower left corner. The coding of behaviors is otherwise the same as with benchmark and SEL texts. Here is a substitution. Here is an omission. Here is an example of processing. The one exception being that this time for insertions, you will tap and swipe on a new X at the place of insertion rather than on the word before the insertion. Please note that while I have written insert here, you would write the actual word that was inserted. For repetitions, tap on the check mark or the X that represents the word or words that were repeated and use the buttons just as you would for benchmark or SEL coding. Here is a single word repetition. Here is a repetition of a phrase. End the coding by tapping on End and then tap on Score to go to the scoring section. The fluency scoring is the same as with benchmark SEL texts, and the comprehension score is now a word rather than a number, and you will base your selection on the student's answers to questions of your own devising. Analyzing a behavior is the same as with benchmark SEL texts, but you tap on the X that represents the word to analyze the behavior. You then write a summary statement about the reading and view the assessment report in the same way as with BAS SEL texts.